Hi guys, today we're going to be learning about dairy cows. You should have a copy of Dairy 101 notes so you can follow along with me. This is like my favorite unit. I love dairy cows, so let's get started. All right, so we're going to start off with some vocabulary. You do not have to write these down exactly. Please put these in your own words. Pause this video as I explain so you can get stuff written down because I'm going to go pretty fast. Freshen. This is for a cow to begin to give birth and produce, and begin producing milk. You would say like, oh, she's due to freshen next week, or yeah, she freshened yesterday. Breed, to impregnate or to make pregnant. So you would say, yeah, I bred her last week, or we need to breed her. Castrate, to remove the testicles or otherwise surgically alter a male so that he cannot breed. So in some way inhibiting an animal from breeding. If we were talking about dogs or cats, we would use the term neuter. Pasteurize, this is to heat a liquid to a high enough temperature to kill bacteria. Homogenized, a process where cream is emulsified so that the cream does not separate from the skim. We're going to explain that one more later because that's a pretty tough one. Cream, this is a term for the fat found in milk. Skim, this is the parts of the milk that do not contain fat. So water, sugar, protein, minerals, calcium, one of that mineral that's in milk that's super important, stuff like that. So let's talk about the crew, guys. Let's meet our dairy cows. So we're going to start off with a calf here. This calf, they can be either gender, boy or girl. So you would say like a bull calf or a heifer calf. And they can be any age from newborn to 1 year old. So when they first come out, they are a calf. After that, a heifer. So a heifer is a female animal that is at least 1 year old, but she hasn't had a baby yet. Think of them as a teenager. So they'll typically have their first baby around 2 years old. And you can roughly think of there being 10 cow years to every 1 person year. So by the time they're 2, they're really 20. So ladies, you guys would all be heifer. A heifer, you're a teenage female. A cow. So a cow, guys, in order to be called a cow, it has to be a female that's had at least 1 baby. You'll notice that she has developed an udder. Udder, guys, not udders. She has 1 udder. And she's began to produce milk. So cows will not develop an udder until they freshen for the first time. You'll remember that freshen means to give birth. Next up, a bull. So a bull is a male cow that has reached maturity. He's going to be at least 2 years old, and he is able to breed females to get them pregnant. Looking at some differences between the bull and the cow, you'll notice our bull, guys, has a lot of more muscle and skin over his neck, as well as just being overall a little bit thicker and coarser. Compare that to our female. You can see she's a lot slimmer. All right. Steer. So steer is a male animal that has been castrated. He's been surgically altered in a way so that he cannot breed. So critical thinking. What are 2 reasons that we castrate bulls? 2 reasons we castrate bulls. Go ahead, pause this and think about it. All right, guys, so talking about different reasons we castrate bulls. Oh, let me go back, sorry. Let's talk about different reasons that we castrate bulls. One reason, if you think of cartoons, what are bulls' temperaments like? They're always chasing people, running down red flags, right? And while that is a bit of an exaggeration, bulls are actually very temperamental. So we castrate them to make them calmer, okay? This also makes it safer for other cows and for the humans that have to handle them. I just heard 2 months ago about a farmer in Southwest Virginia who passed away after his bull attacked him. So calmer, safer. Also, why would you neuter your pets? Because you don't want them to have an unintended pregnancy, right? So to prevent unintended pregnancy. All right, so it makes them calmer, it makes them safer, and it prevents unintended pregnancies. All right, next up. Let's talk about some dairy products, guys. So milk as it comes out of the cow is going to be, let me get my pointer here so you can see what I'm pointing at. Aha, here we go. Milk is going to be around 87% water. Milk is mostly water, guys. Around 3.7% fat naturally. And in just a minute, we're going to talk about the differences between low fat, no fat, wholes, and all that different kinds of milk. Sugar around 4.6%. We'll talk more about that too, and lactose intolerance. Around 2.8% protein. I bet you guys didn't know that scientists say that chocolate milk is the perfect recovery drink after a long workout. Don't do Gatorade. That has no protein in it. It's all sugar and sodium. Get you some milk. It has natural sugars, natural sodium, and excellent protein. And last but not least, minerals. Think like calcium, phosphorus, important minerals like that. All right, let's watch this short video about what is pasteurized milk. So as it comes out of the cow, guys, we refer to that as raw milk, and it has to be pasteurized. But what exactly is pasteurization? Let's see.
Ever wonder why milk gets pasteurized? You're not the only one.
Dear Organic Valley, what is pasteurization? And why do you do it to all your milk? We get that question a lot. Here's one of our food scientists to explain.
I'm Emma Grindy, a product development food technologist, and I've been with Organic Valley for 5 years. Since the 1920s, pasteurization has been widely used to increase food safety and extend product shelf life. Pasteurization uses heat to remove 99.9% of bacteria from perishable beverages like juice, beer, kosher wine, and of course, milk. There are actually 2 different types of pasteurization used today in the dairy industry: HTST pasteurization and UHT pasteurization. Neither method significantly reduces the nutritional benefits of milk, uses any chemicals, or causes allergies. Here's a quick comparison. HTST stands for high temperature, short time, and it's the most commonly used type of pasteurization across the dairy industry. In this process, raw milk is heated to the required temperature of 161 degrees Fahrenheit, held for 15 seconds, and then rapidly cooled to 39 degrees. With Organic Valley HTST milk, expect a shelf life of between 16 and 21 days after pasteurization. The other method is called ultra-high temperature pasteurization, or UHT for short. It's a much hotter and faster process. Raw milk is heated to approximately 280 degrees Fahrenheit, held for just 2 seconds, and then rapidly chilled back to 39 degrees. The big noticeable difference: UHT milk has a shelf life of almost 3 times that of HTST milk, 40 to 60 days from the day of production. Fun fact: many people wonder why organic milk lasts longer than conventional milk. The answer is surprisingly simple. UHT pasteurization is the preferred method of pasteurization in the organic milk industry.
Hope that explains how important and useful pasteurization is. Food safety is a top priority at Organic Valley.
All right, guys, so let's go over some questions about that video. So pasteurization is a practice that we use to remove most bacteria from milk. So bacteria that could potentially make you sick. So we kind of have 2 main ways that we can pasteurize. We can do high temperature, short time, or ultra high temperature. So high temperature, short time, we get the milk up to 161, and it has to stay there for about 15 seconds. Now, this milk is what you would typically buy in the grocery store. It has a shelf life of around 16 to 21 days. Ultra high temperature, on the other hand, gets the milk all the way up to 280 degrees. Oh my gosh, that's hot. But it only has to go up there for 2 seconds. And this milk is good for 40 to 60 days. Now, organic milk, which is a different way of producing milk, typically uses the ultra high temperature method. So, critical thinking question. Your friend Rachel, oh, Rachel, poor Rachel, she has no idea, says that organic milk lasts longer because there are no chemicals in it. Is Rachel correct? Why or why not? Pause this video, take a guess. All right, so Rachel says organic milk has no chemicals in it. No milk has chemicals in it. Rachel doesn't know what she's talking about. But Rachel says because organic milk doesn't have chemicals in it, sorry guys, phone alarm, it's going to last longer. Well, let's jump back in. So organic milk is typically pasteurized using the ultra high temperature method. I'm not really sure why, and I don't really know that that's important, but I know that's what they typically do. And let's take a look. Ultra high temperature milk typically lasts 40 to 60 days versus high temperature short time pasteurized milk, which is only 16 to 21 days. So organic milk lasts longer because they pasteurize it a different way, not because there's chemicals or anything like that. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, so another thing we do to our milk, we've pasteurized it now to remove the bacteria. And now we need to do what's called homogenized. You know when you drink orange juice and all the pulp falls to the bottom? Well, in milk, we have the opposite problem. all of the cream, all of the good creamy fat in the milk is going to rise to the top. So when you would open your thing of milk, there'd be a layer of fat on top and then all the skim underneath. What? I don't want to drink fat. So what we do to fix that is we homogenize it. Let's learn more about that.
Do you ever wonder what exactly is homogenized milk? Well, you're not alone.
Dear Organic Valley, I noticed that you have homogenized and non-homogenized milk. What's the difference? Great question. Here's one of our food scientists with the answer.
I'm Emma Grindy, a product development food technologist, and I've been with Organic Valley for 5 years. Homogenization is simply the process of breaking down fat molecules so the milk has a smooth and even consistency. Homogenization doesn't involve additives or chemicals, and homogenization doesn't alter the nutritional benefits of drinking milk. In its natural state, all raw milk is composed of protein, water, and butterfat. Left alone, the fat will rise to the top, creating an obvious layer of cream. This is where we get the saying, only the cream rises to the top. When milk is homogenized, it's heated, agitated, and passed through a valve at high pressure. This physical process changes the fat molecules so they are the same size and density as the rest of the milk. The result? Homogenized milk is always smooth and consistent.
That's really all there is to it. But if you would like to try milk with the cream on top, Organic Valley makes several non-homogenized dairy products. Grass milk whole milk, cream on top, grass milk 2% milk, cream on top.
All right, guys. So without homogenization, the cream rises up to the top. I'm actually going to show you that next week when we make butter in class. So
Do you ever wonder what exactly?
we already watched this video. Come on, I want to go to the next slide. All right. So homogenization is the process of breaking down the fat molecules, the little bits of fat in the milk. So the milk is a smooth and even consistency. You don't get some skimmed and some fat. Left alone, that fat rises to the top and creates an obvious layer for the cream. This process changes the fat molecules. They start out bigger. It pushes them through a little sieve almost and makes the fat molecules the same size as the skim molecules. All right, so that's homogenization. We'll learn more about that next week when we make that butter. All right, guys, next thing we're going to take a look at is the 4 different types of milk. All right, 4 different types of milk. We have non-fat milk or zero, which skim, there's no fat, 1% fat, which is 1% fat, 2% fat, and whole milk. Let's watch this video to learn more about it.
Milk lovers seem to have a preference: skim, 1%, 2% whole. They all seem to be committed to one of those, but rarely more than one of those.
Those 4 types of milk all come from the same cow. So what makes them different from each other? Good question. John Lorson looked into this and he joins us now from Lunds in downtown Minneapolis. Hi, John.
Hey, John.
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, milk is one of those things that mom bought at the grocery store when we were kids. She'd bring it home, you drink it, then over time you buy the same kind of milk because you're used to it. But an expert tells us that of these 4 types of milk, over time, one is better than the others. Are you a milk drinker?
I am.
What do you drink?
Chocolate milk.
From the moon to the milk. We use it for so many things, yet we're picky about the kind of milk we buy. 1%, 2% whole milk, skim milk?
2%. Yeah.
What do you drink?
2%.
You guys ever tried skim milk?
Nope. Yeah, not a fan.
The funny thing is, all 4 types of milk have the same vitamins and minerals. The difference is fat and calories.
Skim milk would have a trace of fat in 8 ounces or 1 cup, and whole milk would have up to 8 grams of fat in that same 8 ounces.
Deborah Sheets is a professor of nutrition at St. Catherine University. At milk processing plants, centrifugation separates fat from milk. If all fat is removed, then it becomes fat-free or skim milk. The plant operators can also add some fat back in to create 1%, 2%, and whole milk, which is 3.25%. Even though whole milk has the most fat, Sheets says children under 2 need it.
They actually need the fat for their brain and nervous system.
As we get older, though, Sheets says skim milk may be a better option. Is that what you recommend then?
I do. It's actually probably the healthiest of those if you look at the fat and the calories.
And if you don't have a milk allergy, she even recommends it over almond and soy milk.
Actually, those sources tend to be lower in protein. They don't have all the same vitamins and minerals, and they aren't as balanced.
She says when it comes to milk, cows are king. They're easy to manage and they produce the most gallons, even though a lot of other animals like goats, camels, and even yaks our milk producers.
A yak might put up more of a fight. You try to you're trying to milk it.
Yeah, it'd be fun to maybe try and, well, we won't go there at all. If you're a calorie counter, you should know too that a cup of skim milk is actually about 90 calories. A cup of whole milk is about 150 calories. Of course, a lot of this, guys, comes back to taste. Some people just like whole milk the way it tastes a lot better than skim milk or 1% or 2%, whatever it might be.
Yeah, a lot of us have it too. Like
Yeah.
I got yaks on the brain now.
Yeah.
I bet you
Hopefully you
do.
found this information utterly useful. Utterly useful. How about that?
Don't milk
As
your yak,
always,
but
we
be
did.
careful,
Exactly.
Thank you, John.
All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about those different types of milk now.
Milk lovers seem to
No,
have a
I don't wanna
preference.
watch the video
Skim,
again. Come
1%.
All right, guys. So all milk in the stores is going to be pasteurized and homogenized. So it's been heated up to remove the bacteria and it's been processed so that the cream doesn't separate. Skim milk is going to have all of the cream removed. 1% milk, all but 1% of the cream, 2%, 2%, and whole milk is going to be around 3.25% fat. Some other things that we can create with those are cheeses. With that, we typically curdle the milk. That's a nasty word, curdle, but it tastes good. The milk using different types of bacteria and enzymes. And I know what you're thinking, Miss Warren's bacteria? Well, guys, most bacteria out there is actually good bacteria. Right now on your skin, you have more bacteria cells than skin cells. The vast majority, like 99.9% of bacteria doesn't hurt you and it can actually be good for you, but it's only that 0.01% we're worried about that hurts you. So critical thinking, is whole milk 100% fat? Pause this, take a guess. All right, guys, as we just learned, right here, whole milk is only going to be around 3.25% fat. All right. Oh, hang on. Tech troubles. All right. Let's go to the next one. So some other dairy products we can make. Yogurt, stuff like Greek yogurt, froyo, Go-Gurt, good stuff like that. This is where we use bacteria to convert the milk sugars, that lactose, into acids, and that's what makes the yogurt creamy. Another thing we can make is butter, which we're going to make in class next week. This is where the cream is separated from the skim, and then you agitate it, you shake it until the butter forms. Another thing we can do is ice cream, everybody's favorite. We take lots of cream, a little bit of milk, mix it together, aerate it, put flavorings in it, all that good stuff. All right, critical thinking. Let's take a minute to think. One reason pasteurization is, we're going to skip this critical thinking. Let's just keep going. I don't like it. All right, guys, we've just about hit the end of this video. Thanks for watching.